So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this Steel Ops Armis plate. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about it was there are a lot of different plates that are out on the market. And what we did was we were focusing on how do we make a small maneuverable plate that is as light as possible, also at a price point to where you, the end user, can afford to buy it, and also make it extremely thin, because I want it thin, I want it as light as possible, and I want it to where I can still manage and still be able to shoot effectively with it. I tested one of their first plates out and I was amazed. I think I put in like almost 3,000 grains of ammunition before this coating split. Now that include 124 plus P9 millimeter. That included 45, 4 rounds of that as well, 10 mil, 2 armor piercing 357s, just to start off, 4 regular XM193, that's at 10 feet, and then 4 green tip, that was at 10 feet as well. 175 was, I believe, that was a 175 grain federal gold medal match. That was shot at 20 feet. And then it was the second one of those that cracked the plate. And here's the thing. Yes, when I say cracked the plate, I mean the coating. The plate, I'd walked up to it after that and just unleashed literally a few feet away with a lot of rounds, let's just say that. Now, we all know that once this coating splits, that fragmentation comes up to the neckline. But where's it gonna go? When you put in that many grains of ammunition, it's gotta start bulging and going somewhere, and there's gonna be a trade-off. There's always pros and cons in everything that we choose and what we do. The thing is, it's a $140 plate. Now I can tell you that I have $850 in one plate, and I have 2 of them. So that means I'm just shy, by the time tax rolls around, of spending $2,000 on a very thin plate that looks something like this. It's not AR600. It's nice and light, but I also have to wear body armor with it. And that's because of the back face deformation is going to go into my body. So I need something to stop that fragmentation and deformation, which is why we wear the Kevlar. So you don't need that with this plate. And I would like to think that if you got shot 8 times with 5.56, you'd move, get out of the way. So we were trying to find a balance between, hey, what if you don't have time to get soft body armor on? And then remember, that was with a nice high-speed $850 plate. Well, most people don't have $2,000 to purchase plates. And how much are you really wearing them? Maybe to the end user, that $2,000 works really well because they're always wearing level 3 body armor, and cost is not really an option to that particular person, and they use them all the time. And when we look at most of us, it's kind of for that rainy day, that weird situation that as a civilian, we may find ourselves in, which, you know, nowadays you definitely can't rule it out, but just a little more uncommon for a civilian. But you only spend $140 per plate. The other thing is, for law enforcement, you're not wearing this that long. We're talking $140 to give you that level of protection. The reality is, had I not shot those other rounds, that 230 grain ball times 4, the 158 357s, the 480 grain 10 mils plus the 4, I probably would have had room to stack a few more 5.56 rounds into that plate. So we're trying to find a trade-off, right? Pros and cons, to where you can have a thin plate that stops everything from 9 mil at point blank, of course, XM193, 10 feet, M855, 62 grain steel core, 7.6239, 123 grain lead core, 7.62 by 39, 130 grain steel core, 7.62 by 51, 147 grain lead core, 30-06, 150 grain lead core, 1 ounce 12 gauge slug, 18 feet, and then of course a 458 SOCOM, 350 grain lead core at 15 feet. I mean, I feel like that's pretty reasonable. And I know there's a lot of naysayers out there against AR600 plates, but the majority of us, if we really want a really good plate, typically they're either crazy thick, in which case I can't shoot or drive the gun as well, or they're crazy thin, which is awesome and light, but they're extremely expensive. So check it out. They have some other stuff. It's not going to be for everybody, but for a lot of you, it's something to consider, especially in the LE community where money's an issue and you're not going to wear this thing that much. You know, you're putting it on really quickly and then going into, you know, obviously an extreme or exigent situation to where that little bit of extra weight, and I think these are like 4.8 pounds is what this ends up being. So just something to think about and check out. We put a lot of work into this. There's a lot of curves and bends into this to help conform to your body so that when you're wearing that plate carrier, it really fits the right way. So again, Steel Ops, check it out.